Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another fun show with myself and Lynne Versaci from the Hudson Valley Squares. What's happening, Lynne? Happy Sunday to you.
Hello. Happy Valentine's Day
That's right. Happy
to
Valentine's
you
Day.
and to everybody. Happy Valentine's Day,
That is
everyone.
right. Hopefully, everybody's having a good day today with their loved one. And if not, have a good day anyway, right? So even if you're not with your loved one, it's Sunday. It's a reason to celebrate. So today,
Awesome.
Lynne and I have a fun show for you. So we did a couple weeks ago, we did a show all about those heavy bands. No, sorry, those heavy songs from non-heavy bands. Well, today, how about those mellow songs from heavy bands? So we've picked 10 of our favorites. Lynn and I were just talking that there's a hell of a lot more than that. It was really
There's
tough
so
to
many.
So I
I
did the
didn't
best
touch the tip of the iceberg, I really
no,
didn't.
not at all. Not at all. And again, there's some songs that I had a couple picked out that I want to taken out of my list because I'm like, well, it's kind of mellow for that band, but it's still a pretty heavy song, right? And I think I left one in my
Yeah.
list that still kind of qualifies as that. But for me, I tried to pick songs that were a little different from what those bands normally did and were pretty heavy. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
pretty light for the heavy bands. I'm still like in the other mindset.
Yeah. No, I get that. I
Yeah.
did the kind of the same thing. And I did pick a song or two that is still a little heavy, but mellow-ish. I don't know. The things
Mellow-ish
that
is
I
a good way to
liked.
put it. Mellow-ish. Yes, exactly.
Mellow-ish. Yeah, because I
Mellow-ish.
didn't want to do I did some full ballads. And like I said, there's some cliche songs that are out there that, I could have picked, but I just didn't.
Yeah, yeah. And I had a couple tracks too that were like pretty mellow, but then I looked at the bands themselves, and the bands, although they're kind of classified as heavy bands, they're really not that heavy. So I kind of discounted those as well. So, but we'll see. We'll see as we go through this. So I'll let Lynn kick us off with her first pick with
Right.
number 10. Mine are not in any order of preference. I don't know about yours.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do mine in any order either. And again, since I'm such a huge Queensryche fan, like I I was gonna put Silent Lucidity on my list. I didn't because everyone knows how much I love Queensryche. Obviously, that's a given. So Silent Lucidity it's with me, but it's not on the list because it is what it is. But my number 1 or 10, whatever, is Death Angel, Room with a View.
Wow, I didn't see that one coming. That's
No,
pretty
off
cool.
Act
Wow, I didn't even
3.
think of that. Yeah.
Off Act 3. And I tell you why, because when I was just in the hospital, I sent my girlfriend, I posted some pictures of my hospital room, had a killer view of the Hudson River and the ice. It was just really cool. So she sent me that song and I was like, oh my God, I remember this song. I love that. So it reminded me of my hospital stay and all that stuff. And 1990, I think it was released. So Death Angel, Room with a View. I think that's a killer tune, and I think that's a good way to kick this show off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect example of what we're talking about here. And I'm sure
Yeah.
now that you mentioned that one, now we're going to get like 20 people going to be like, Pete, when are you guys going to rank the albums of Death Angel? I'm like, oh, see what you started, Lynn? Thanks.
I know. That's all right. That's okay. Listen, I also love the band Sanctuary. Sanctuary is a great band. I love that. Made me think of them too.
Yeah.
I will show you your tears. Like I just like Into the Mirror Black. Like I was just singing that. I'm like, oh man, it reminded me of like those days.
Yeah, I love Sanctuary. That's
me
great,
too.
man.
Me too. Yeah.
All right, so my number 10. This one's kind of a no-brainer for me, so I'll get it out of the way first. Over and Over by the mighty Black Sabbath. And it goes over and over again. Man, Mr. Dio. Had to have Dio on here somewhere. And it was either this or Lonely Is the Word, but that I think is a little heavier than this one. I think this is just a great mellow Black Sabbath song, and I didn't want to pick like Changes or something like that. I wanted to get something that's got a little meat to it, but is still pretty mellow for the band. So Over and Over from the mighty Sabbath from Mob Rules. That's my.
I'm glad you picked Dio because I love Dio. You know how much I love Dio, and I didn't pick him, but I could have, right? Very well, easily I could have picked him, but I'm glad you did Ronnie James Dio some justice here. So my number 2 or 8, whatever the hell you're ranking, is a band again that we all love. A lot of us love them, and they're still killing it, although they've had a couple losses. And that's Pantera off the Cowboys from Hell. It's Cemetery Gates.
Oh yeah, yeah, I considered that one. I had a feeling you might have chosen. That's why I didn't.
Yeah.
I always try to
I'm
think, it's like,
sure.
well, what is my partner in crime going to do for these
Yeah,
shows? And like, all right. So that was Pantera was one of the first bands that came to mind because they do have a couple of mellower songs.
they
I think
do.
could have easily, yeah, that's a great choice. That's a great
They
choice.
do. But Cemetery Gates, it's like I just, you know, it's like when I was listening to that album and that song came on, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, seriously, I don't know. It just kills. And we, you know, back in the day, we were all hanging out with everybody. And I think that was like our anthem song at our friend Terry's house. Like that was the song we would all hang out. I think the sun would come up and we'd be playing that song, you know?
Yeah,
Ode to be Young Again.
I know, right? Oh, come on, we're still a little bit young, right?
Well, hey, you know what?
Young.
Yeah, but now I'm waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning instead of going to bed at 4.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm falling asleep on the couch at 8:30, 9 o'clock. And
Yeah, although I can still hang. I can still hang though.
at least you can. I'm having a hard
can.
time with that.
I can still hang.
But you know,
I need
Cemetery
something to
Gates
hang for.
yeah. Cemetery Gates is a great example of those heavy bands that did these songs that kind of went back and forth from light to heavy, light to heavy. And I think we'll see a few of those on this list. And Lynn and I were talking about that before we went live about like some songs that are kind of borderline because they're still kind of heavy in spots, but they have those really cool mellow parts, which I think is what everybody remembers the most. That's a perfect example of that.
And they're mellow-ish. Remember we said mellow-ish is the word.
That's right. That's the word of the day, mellow-ish. As is this song. And I remember when this first came out, I was kind of like, oh no, this band is kind of going like really commercial on us. But then I was like, man, but what a great song this is. How about a little Stone Cold? I thought I knew you so well.
Sing it to us. Sing it to us.
I'd almost rather sing the guitar solo, right? Because the guitar solo is so memorable. I love Richie to death. And man, one of Joe Lynn Turner's finest moments. I love this album. And
I remember that video.
Great kind of, do you even call it a power ballad? I don't even know what the hell you call it. A little indicative of Rainbow at the time, but as they would show, they were very good at this time period of putting out songs like that. Because I think Richie at the time wanted Rainbow to be more kind of like Foreigner-ish. And I think that was almost a really big hit for them. I mean, it was played a lot on the radio. They had the MTV video, and I've always dug that song quite a bit. It's easily one of my favorite of those type of songs. So yeah, Stone Cold.
Yeah, and I think that video on MTV, right? Because I was an MTV girl, and I think that video was kind of what got me like on the Joe Lynn Turner theme. Him and his he had his eyes, he had the best eyes, and he would look in the camera in that video, and he was like ice cold, and I'm like, oh no, actually I'm not, but okay. So
and what
yeah,
was cool about that video too is that they used the whole theme of the album and the album cover straight between the eyes, and they showed his eyes a lot.
Yeah, they did.
Said in that, yeah. So they kind of
took
took
great
not
eyes.
the song but the album theme, right? So yeah. So there you have it. That's my
go figure
choice.
So another band, right, that I love, and again, I think the 90s was it. Like the first couple of songs I chose were like 1990, 91, 92. Like that era was just like, I don't know, I was in my vein. But and I remember seeing these guys down at L'Amour's, and they did this song, and I was blown away because it probably was released by then when I saw them at L'Amour's, but I didn't hear it on any record yet. And that is Faith No More covering the Commodores' Easy. Because I love Mike Patton. I love Mike Patton. I love his vocals. I love everything about him. You know, I love the whole Mr. Bungle. Like, I love that. So when he did that at L'Amour's, I was like, oh, now I love you even more, you know, because who doesn't love the Commodores? I mean, if you were, you know, so yeah, I mean, that was just amazing. So the 90s was it for me with Mike Patton and doing that song.
I forgot.
Remember that?
About that? Yeah, that's a great cover because he sings it so well. I think a lot of people forget. There goes my dogs. I think a lot of people forget just what a really beautiful voice he has when he wants to, and he can do that kind of pop crooner thing like that.
He can croon. He can growl. He can do it all.
Yeah.
Love me some Mike Patton for sure.
That's a great choice. That caught me out of left field with that one. Very cool.
That's what I'm trying to do today.
There you go. All right. So my next one, I love this band to death. I've been following them since they first came out. And again, they're not known for I mean, they do them every now and then, but they're not known for like that nice, simple little crooner ballad type of thing. But I'm talking about Dream Theater from the Images and Words album, Wait for Sleep.
Nice. Yeah.
It's a short song. It's only like like 2.5 minutes long, but it's got a really nice James LaBrie vocal, really gorgeous piano work. It's got a great melody, and it's just the chorus is just like it's like one of those lights here in the old days we'd light the lighter and we'd all be like doing that whole thing. But on an album that doesn't have a lot of stuff like that, it's mostly a pretty hard hitting and progressive album. But that's a cool little mellow song that I always really liked. And Wait for Sleep, Dream Theater.
Yeah, that's a good one. Love me some Dream Theater. So my next one is, again, it's a metal band that you don't really think of power ballads too much. I mean, I guess they did a few, but this is one of my favorites, and it's off the Kings of Metal album. It's some Manowar, and it's Heart of Steel. And the piano and the strings when they come in, and oh my God, it just sets the tone for that. And then his vocals come in, and you're just like blown away. So that's the one thing I thought. Actually, it was one of the first songs I thought of when you told me that. I was like, all right, I got to pick that one, because Manowar's, I mean, again, back in the day, they were a pretty big deal. You go see them, and I mean, to me, they're still a big deal, but
Yeah, I mean, they're one of those bands that should have been bigger here, and for whatever reason, they weren't. And
I feel like they were a little underrated for me. In the States.
Those first like 4 albums, they were gaining in popularity, and then I guess it took them too long to get to that spot, and then all of a sudden, grunge and alternative kind of took over. I think that's the problem with Manowar. And but I mean, yeah, that's a perfect example of what we're talking about today. A good, heavy, consistent, heavy band who occasionally would drop that kind of mellowish song. And that one's a really good one. So that's a great choice. Another out of the box choice that I like.
Yay!
Yay! All right, my number 7. I love this song. I love this album. I love this band, and this is like one of those. Generally you don't see a song just kind of cap off and finish an album, but I think it's in this instance, it's like the perfect example of how you close an album the right way. And it's from the Earthshaker album from Y&T, and I Believe in You. What a great vocal. What a great song. This is one of those songs that when I hear it, I play it again, and I play it again, and I play it again. I just absolutely love it. And it's slow and mellow. It keeps building and building. Meniketti's vocals and that guitar solo at the end. It's just like, oh man, it's just so good. I wish more people knew about I Believe in You.
Love it.
Should have been a massive hit for them. And this is before they really, really took off, obviously. But great album, my favorite Y&T album, and it's my favorite song by them. I just love it so much.
I'm going to segue off that because I too chose Y&T tune, because I love Meniketti, and every time he plays at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, like, he's just a doll to work for. He really is. He's a great guy. He's always hanging out, talking with us before and after the show. He's a really nice guy, his wife. So it's off Black Tiger, and it's Forever. Forever, right? Like, come on. Yep. I mean, falling for you. Like, I can't. I just want to go back, like, because they play the club like at least once a year, once every 16 months.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till this is over just so I can hear that again. I'm going to beg him to play it. So yeah, when you hear Meniketti's vocals, just in general, he's got a great voice, and
he really does. Yeah. And I think Y&T are one of those bands that almost made it really big here. And I don't, you look back and you look at some of their albums and the quality, especially like Earthshaker, Black Tiger, Mean Streak, and even like a couple albums after, they had all the qualities to be a huge band. Totally. They were always on that tier that didn't quite make it over the hump to like superstardom, but everybody likes them. I mean, they're a band that everybody knows. If you're into hard rock and metal, everybody knows them, everybody loves them. But like the average person doesn't know the greatness of Y&T.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of those really cool kind of ballady melodic songs, and those are great examples. Wow, back to back. Look at that.
I agree. Back to back Y&T.
Very cool. All right, so we're at number 6. So for me, I had to fit these guys on here somewhere, and this is probably the best song by them that really exemplifies what we're talking about. It's melodic, it's mellow, but it's sort of heavy, but it tugs at your soul. And it's Believe by Savatage from the Streets album.
I'm dying because it was on my list and I changed it.
I'm glad one of us had it, right? We were both the same process.
I love it.
I mean, how great is that melody, man? And John Oliva's like heart-tugging vocals. The chorus is so great. It's like, you talk to most Savatage fans, and everybody has a soft spot for Believe. They got all these other real heavy numbers, but everybody loves Believe. It's just such a great, great song, and it's so memorable and so melodic. Love it.
That's so funny. I'm cracking up. You and I feel like we're like simpatico today, But I'm going to segue off that with another Savatage tune, but it does not feature John Oliva. It features Zach Stevens, and I think it was his first release with the band, and it's Edge of Thorns, and it's the title track. And come on. Yeah. I mean, I just can't. I mean, that I think back in the day, that was another, me and my girlfriends driving all these clubs back in the day, checking things out. And I think we'd always play that tune, always.
That's a great song. And I love the kind of the piano, it's got these slow, heavy riffs, but it's not a really piano bombastic, heavy song. And Zach's vocals are amazing. I love the chorus. It's so memorable.
Yeah.
That's a great underrated album from them, I think. That was
for sure. And I love Zach's vocals. I do. Not that I don't like John Oliva's vocals, but
they're so
Zach,
different.
when he came out, I was like, wow.
Yeah, well, like Oliva's got that perfect like heavy metal wail, right? And
the
early stuff. Yeah. Zach is more of like a melodic
for sure.
Yeah, but I love
it. And he's pretty too.
I wouldn't know that, but if you say so. All right, I got one that I don't think you know, and I'm going to send you a link to it so you can listen to it if you don't know it, because it's an amazing song. So this band, especially at this point in time in their career, were not known for mellow stuff at all. In fact, most of their stuff up to this album, and even a couple after it, is mostly progressive death metal, very heavy stuff, very complex stuff. But then they put this album out called Damnation, which is all mellow. It's all really proggy, folky type stuff. And it's Opeth from Sweden. And the song is called In My Time of Need. It's all mellotron and acoustic guitars and lovely vocals, like one of the greatest choruses that'll just knock you on your seat of your pants. Such a great song. This whole album is like that. Really beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite off of this album. I just think it's an unforgettable song by them. So In My Time of Need from Opeth. Have you heard it?
I have not heard it, so please send it to I would love to hear it.
You'll love it. It's
I would love to hear
beautiful song. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. So cool.
Nice. So again, going back to the Sunset Strip, hanging out, whatever. Who do you see? Lemmy. Got to pick a Motorhead tune. Got to pick a Motorhead tune. Love Me Forever off 1916. I mean, when you hear Lemmy do that, and it's so weird because when I saw him sing that, or when I hear him sing that, I wonder what he was thinking or what he's thinking about when he sings it, because I feel like it's about love, but then I feel like it's about heartbreak. You wonder if he was like tormented somehow, but Love Me Forever from Motorhead. I love it. And I like to hear him singing stuff like that. It's different.
And most people are probably thinking Motorhead did a mellow song. How is that possible with that voice of his?
To me, that was mellow. It still, had some heavy parts and riffs and stuff, but I mean, it was a mellow tune for them, For them,
absolutely.
Especially lyrically. Lyrically, I feel like it was just different for them. Yeah. That's why I wonder, what was that about?
But it worked, right?
Yeah, I'm always trying to figure out what things.
Underrated album by them. That's as Motorhead got into like the 90s and the 2000s, they released so many albums and so quickly after each other. I think some of them kind of got forgotten by a lot.
Lost in the mix, yeah.
I think the 1916 album, I know when I did ranking the album show of Motorhead, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, so many people chimed in how much they loved those 90s and 2000 albums. And that, like old dinosaurs like me, all my favorites are the ones from the 80s, because that's stuff I grew up on. Doesn't mean I don't like the later stuff.
Right.
Tend to go to the Fast Eddie Clark stuff, but that 1916 album is really, really good. So that's a great choice. All right, I had to throw this one in here. This, when I was thinking about this show, this is probably the first one that came to mind. And they actually have a couple of others that could be considered on this show, on this list. But I had to go with Fade to Black from Metallica, from the Ride the Lightning album. And again, kind of like Cemetery Gates, kind of like another pick in my honorable mentions. It's that perfect blend of mellow, ballady type of stuff with the sledgehammer metal, and then back and forth between the two. And they do it so well on that song. And I'll never forget the day I first heard that song. I walked into Rock and Roll Heaven North, okay, owned by the Zazulas in Warwick, New York, in what year was this? 1984. I walked in the door and all I heard was dan 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 dan. And I said to them, I was like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a new Metallica album, Megaforce Records. We the executive produced this album and everything." And I was like, "I'll take it. Where is it?" And that was it. No questions asked.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I feel the same way. It's funny because, you know, when you do these shows with us and with me and everybody, I sit there and I listen to all these songs and I'm thinking, if we could just play these songs in the background as we're saying them, I don't think it's legal because I think you probably can't do that licensing. But I'm telling you, just to see the emotion on her face as I play these songs and we pick them, like, oh, like it just, I don't know, you know, it gives me goosebumps. It makes me feel good. But I guess that's why we're here, right?
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, it's like I always, because people ask that all the time. It's like, well, it'd be great if you could play a little snippet, but the YouTube police don't like us to do that because
they don't like to do that
stuff. So what I
we
always
can
tell
hum
everybody,
a few bars.
It's we hum a few bars here and there, but what I tell everybody, it's like, you know what, when you're watching a show like this, you gotta have two windows open, right? Or two browser tabs, both on YouTube. So you listen to us, you keep YouTube open on another tab. When we talk about a song or an album, you put us on pause, you go on the other tab and you play it and listen to it. And then you go back and forth, back and forth. It's really the only way to do it, right? So because even if we played like a 10 or 15 second clip from the song, what's that going to do? You can't experience.
Yeah, no, it doesn't give it justice. You have to just sit down, chill, close your eyes, throw your freaking ear pods in and feel it.
Yeah, that's it.
You got to feel it for sure. So, all right, my next one, of course, is from Mr. Rob Halford and Judas Priest, off the Stained Glass 1978 record. It's Beyond the Realms of Death.
Yeah.
Come on, right? Yep. You can't. He really is the metal god. I hear that song and it just puts me in another dimension entirely. It really does. His screams, just like, how do you do that? Yeah, it's awesome. I love him. I love him. I love them. I love that song.
That's another perfect example of what we're talking about, right? The kind of back and forth between the heavy and the mellow and the heavy and the mellow that they do.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, like you said with the Sabbath and Dio, you wanted to pick a Sabbath or a Dio song.
Yeah.
Thought I was going to do that. I did the same thing with this because I wanted to pick Beyond the Realms of Death. I'm like, I have a feeling Lynn's going to want to take that one. So, but that's one of the first ones that came to mind because it perfectly balances.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's not a heavy song. And it's not like it's a really mellow song, but for that band at that time, that was a mellow song, but it's so moody and melodic. Yeah. You got the bits of heaviness, the great guitar solos, the great vocals.
It just makes you feel good. I dare anyone to put that song on, like I said, put it in your ear, just listen to it and not feel something, you know?
Yeah.
Like the Seinfeld episode, I think it moved, you know, like if I think it would move if you know, makes you feel warm and fuzzy. At least I know it does me.
Absolute warm and fuzzy, yeah. Which my next tune kind of makes me feel warm and fuzzy. It was originally not on this album that I'm going to show. It was a B-side, I think it was, or a single, I forget. But in the later reissues of the CD, they tacked it on at the end, and it totally makes sense to be on this album. I'm talking about When a Blind Man Cries from Deep Purple, Machine Head era. Very different for the band at the time. So it's more of like kind of like a bluesy, ballady type of song with a wonderful, mellow, melodic vocal from Ian Gillan, which is unlike a lot of the stuff he was doing at this time. And it's not a big rocker tune. It's not a fast song. It's just really simmering and bluesy. And my dog agrees with me, obviously, in the background. Colin's like, yes, When a Blind Man Cries. I love it, Daddy. You put that in there. But yeah, that's my next. I had to throw them on here somewhere. So Deep Purple, Blind Man Cries.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like I said, we could pick everything. I like Motley Crue, Home Sweet Home, and Dockin' Alone Again. Like, I like those songs. Those are like my anthems. But again, I didn't want to put them on the list because it was like, those are givens for me, you know, those for me are givens. But I think we're at number 10 right now. And my last song, and again, it's a band I really like a lot, and they have a couple mellow songs, but for me, this song, when it hits home, I mean, when I listen to it, holy cow, it's Stone Sour and song number 3. I know you probably weren't seeing that coming either.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I know. But I sometimes I got to hit the ball in left field sometimes, but just listen. I have to read you some of the lyrics, right? Just because the way it makes me feel. So it's, let me take a step towards you. Let me feel you in my hands. Let me cross this line and show you where it leads. There's a darkness down inside me that I know we'll both enjoy, and it's screaming from within to set us free. I mean, come on. I can't. It just makes me like crazy. I maybe because I watch too much Hallmark Channel. I'm a hopeless romantic. I don't know. This song just makes me feel like, it's like, did I save you? Because I know you saved me too. I don't know. It just makes me feel good. I don't know. And it could be really not even talking about a person when they wrote it, right? It could be talking about God. It could be talking about food. I don't know. Maybe the burgers.
Yeah, who knows, right?
But it's Valentine's Day. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm going with number 10, my Stone Sour song number 3.
So hopefully you might have missed one because I have 2 left. So you might have one that you skipped over.
Oh, I do.
Good. All right.
I have one at the bottom. I lied.
There you go. All
right.
I
have a couple honorable mentions too. So
cool. As do I. So my next one, I almost didn't include this because this guy, I wouldn't necessarily call him a heavy artist, although at this time period, the stuff that he was doing was pretty much considered hard rock. I don't know if I'd go metal, but it's Gary Moore, because this was the period when he was doing all his heavier stuff. I think you know where I'm going. I had to have Empty Rooms on this.
Okay.
I love Empty Rooms. And that.
Well, who doesn't love Gary Moore?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite guitar players of all time. I miss him dearly. Yeah. But I never understood, this is from the Victims of the Future album, by the way. Of course,
love it.
I had the LP back in the day, had a different cover on it. This is the UK cover. I never understood, and I still don't to this day, how Empty Rooms wasn't a massive hit here in the States when it was released back in 1983. I don't understand. It should have been a monster song. It wasn't, but I still think it's a great song. And I urge everybody, if you're watching, if you haven't seen it, there's a clip on YouTube from a performance. I'm guessing it was 85 or 86. And I think it was from Stockholm, Sweden, I think. But if you look up on YouTube, Gary Moore's best guitar solo ever, it'll take you to a live clip of Empty Rooms. And it's the solo in the song is like 4 minutes long. And it's amazing. It is jaw-droppingly amazing, all the emotion that goes into it. And he just takes this wonderful song, makes it a bit longer, throws in a solo, which just elevates the whole thing. It's absolutely breathtaking. And I try to watch that like every couple of months just to remind myself, not that I need to, of the greatness that was this guy who I miss so much.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you listen to Gary Moore and you don't tingle all over, there's something wrong. Yeah. I have to check for a pulse and your breath, at that point, really.
And I've come across people who are like, oh, he's too shreddy for me. I'm like, wow, what are you talking about?
Yeah, well,
no.
Again, I question those people's behavior.
I know, right? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like there was someone, I don't know, this was like a year or so ago. We were doing a show on Gary Moore, and I talked about, I guess it was his rendition of Shapes of Things. And they're like, oh my God, it's so awful. The only good one is the one that Jeff Beck played on. And I'm not knocking. I love Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
I love Jeff Beck, but I'm like, but how could you just totally like not give Gary Moore's version of that, like at least a little bit of credit? And it's like, oh, it's too shreddy, too much guitar histrionics. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. It's like, you're killing me here. You're killing me here. This is Gary
Killing
Moore.
Me, Smalls. Killing me, Smalls. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm checking for a pulse.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you're right. I did have one more. But before, I don't know, I guess I'll do my honorable mentions after this. But my one more goes to a band who's been around forever and ever and ever. And I know I'm probably gonna get crap for picking this song because it's a cliche kind of song. But for me, this is what set the tone for rock and roll. The band set the tone for many, many bands to follow. And the band is Kiss. And the song is God Gave Rock and Roll to You. And again, I actually, I know maybe because I'm a girl, whatever, but I get teary-eyed when that song comes on, because for me, like, music is my life. Like I said, I don't remember, when you guys sit here and talk, and you and Butch and Sydney and the gang and Nick, Ryan, when you guys all talk, and you guys go, oh, I could name 3 albums off. What's your favorite 3 albums? What's your favorite 3 songs? I don't remember shit. When I tell you, I can't remember names of songs. I can't remember albums, but you play the song and I can remember exactly the way I feel. And music is such a love and such a passion for me. Like, that's the one thing that propels me forward. So I really got, when they say God gave rock and roll to you, seriously feel when Kiss sings that, because I feel like they gave rock and roll, because otherwise I would not be surviving. I think I'm surviving because of music. And I feel like a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Without music, life is flat, right?
Yeah,
so
no, that's true. And I was gonna say, like, for a band that didn't really do covers, they did a really good job on that song, because I think, I think that song, I'm trying to remember, again, we were both young at the time, but I know when Argent did that song originally, I don't remember it being like a big deal.
It wasn't the same.
No,
it wasn't the same, because I played it before the show.
It's good. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's like,
doesn't give me the same goosebumps. Doesn't give me the same goosebumps.
And I'm sure all the Kiss haters who are watching will be like, oh, no way, the original is so much better. Whatever.
Whatever. And again, for me,
entered your life, right? I mean, because I think great, and I'm sure Kiss knew this going in. They did the cover of that song at a perfect time where they make an impact with younger people who maybe didn't hear the Argent version all the 20 years before, maybe not quite 20, 25 years or whatever. So, good. I mean, Gene and Paul know what they're doing. I mean, let's be real.
For sure. And whatever. Like, I heard that Argent song, like, I think it was in the 70s in my mom's Woody, she had that Woody station wagon, with the 3rd row seat, the seat in the back that flipped up, and you were waving.
Chevy Impala, right? The Chevy Impala. We had one of those.
No, it wasn't even an Impala. It was a big station wagon.
Well, yeah, they had a Chevy Impala station wagon. That's
maybe that's what it was.
Ours was blue, though, but I know the one you're talking about with the paneling on it.
Yeah, had the paneling, and the seat flipped up in the back, no seat belts. I'm like, woo, and I was going to my brother's baseball games. Yeah, I was facing the people in the back, always waving. But that song came on like that in the 70s. That song came on, and I was like, oh, yeah. But then later on, when I heard it, when Kiss did it, it was like, this is a whole new feel for me,
Yeah.
For sure. So that for me, again, I like it. I love it. And I like that version way better. And so, my honorable mentions, like I said, I told you, Silent Lucidity, Motley Crue's Home Sweet Home, Doc and Alone Again. You can't dismiss Lita and Ozzy, Close My Eyes Forever. I close my eyes forever, right? Like, you can't, forget it. And then my daughter, it's funny because her and I, whenever we're in the car, we sing Extreme more than words. Whenever it comes on, we're sitting there, we harmonize, and it sounds much better when the radio's on, believe me. I don't want to sing it now, but again, that song makes me feel good. But for me, it has meaning, right? I'm singing it with her. She's going off to college next year. It'll always remind me of our time together. So, but yes, and there's a bunch of other ones, but for keeping it short, those are my picks for today.
Yeah, there's so many. All right, my number one, again, another one that was a no-brainer for me. That's maybe not everybody knows this one, but it's a really cool song. They still play it live whenever they tour, and it's a nice break in their set list because it's the kind of song that it is. It's a mellow acoustic sing-along song, and it's Lady in Black by Uriah Heep off the Salisbury album.
Ooh.
And it's just, who doesn't love to sit at I don't know if you've ever got to see Uriah Heep, but there's, every show, there's going to be the time where we can all go, that's just, every show has that song. And it's like all throughout the years, you're going to get Lady in Black.
I just want to do that just because it looked fun.
It is fun. I know. And every
and
show,
I haven't done it in so long,
everybody's in the audience singing at the top of their lungs, because that's, if you're a Uriah Heep fan, that's what you do at a show. Lady in Black is coming, and it's audience participation time. So so that's my last pick of the day. As far as honorables, I had a few that kind of went in and out of my list. Still Loving You by the Scorpions. Dig that one a lot.
Yeah.
I got to give some more love to Joe Lynn Turner here. How about Dreaming by Yngwie Malmsteen from the Odyssey album that he did with Joe Lynn Turner? Great song. Another one that just missed my list is In This River by Black Label Society.
Oh yeah. Oh
Right?
my God.
That's
How'd I forget that one?
Yeah, that's kind
And
of.
I tell you, one of my favorite Scorpions tunes is Holiday.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I freaking hear that, and it's like, whoa, man! I just go crazy. I have to pull over and like just give myself a minute sometimes, you know.
Yeah. In fact, I think Holiday is probably a better pick than Still Loving You. To be honest with you, that's
yeah, Holiday. I hear that song and it just drives me nuts.
And not that I want to give John Schaefer any props these days after what he did on January 6th, but Iced Earth, Melancholy is a great mellow song from a really heavy band. And my last pick, the one that was originally right in the middle of my list, and I took out because I thought it's probably a little too heavy for what we're talking about, but it is kind of mellow in spots, is Gods of Wrath by Metal Church from the first Metal Church album.
Oh man,
I love that song. And it's like, it's a lot mellower than the rest of the songs on the album, but it's still pretty damn heavy. So I ultimately took that out, but I love that song. And that to me is like, you know how you talked about Cemetery Gates and we talked about Fade to Black and Beyond the Realms of Death. Gods of Wrath is like that. It's got the mellow parts and then it gets really heavy, then it gets mellow again, and it gets really heavy again. So it could have been on my list, probably should have been, but I decided to take it out of the end. But
oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
So
I think this was a good one. And like I said, we probably could have picked 50 more, 100 more. Really.
Oh yeah, it's one of
those.
We
could have said we could sit here for hours and talk about things and sing things and all that stuff. But
yeah. And once you're putting together a list like that, sometimes it's hard to get started. And once you get started, you can't stop. It's like Rich Catino always says, you go down the rabbit hole. And then before you're tumbling through that hole, and it goes further and further down to the depths, and then all of a sudden you got like 40 picks, and you're like, oh, now how do I whittle this down, right? So it's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. And sometimes, like I said, because my memory is not what it used to be, and it's not like you guys, sometimes I'll remember things and I'll go, oh my God, I remember that band. And like, because it's been so many years since I've actually listened to them, I'm a single mom. I'm running around with kids all the time. I mean, now they're teenagers at school, but I mean, for all those years, it was like kid focused and I forgot. And then now it's like, I go back, like I said, Sanctuary and all those bands. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, but yet you put the song on and I'm singing them. I'm like, wow, I know every lyric. It's like, holy shit, I was cool.
Yeah.
I was cool. Now would it be one of those old ladies, get off the grass, you kids, with my cane. You son of a bitch.
Just think, Lennon, like 10 or 15 years, we'll be looking back and watching some of these shows. We'll be like, I remember when we used to sing that song, right?
When we were cool.
When we were young, right?
Oh my God. I never needed anyone.
Yes. Another good song. Wow.
I got the giggles now, Pete. See what you did to me now. The rest of the Valentine's Day, I have the giggles.
There you go. That's right. It is Valentine's Day. So
it is, hence the red scarf with my nice little music notes and my nice little heart necklace.
There you go.
I was trying to do the right thing for St. Valentine's Day, even though I think St. Valentine was beaten to death at something like that.
I just had for lunch because we normally do. Obviously, with COVID, we're not going out anywhere. But
yeah. So, yeah, definitely not.
Sometimes when you go out for Valentine's Day, they have like the restaurants, or you say they have like the limited menu, and it's like, I don't know if so we usually celebrate the day before. So like yesterday, we got takeout from our favorite Italian restaurant over here in Walk Hill, and we got like mussels marinara as an appetizer. We didn't eat all of it, right? And so I had that for lunch today. So I was like, so Valentine's Day, red, big pot of marinara with a nice slice of Italian bread. That's all I needed.
In our Italian restaurant. Nice. Well, I made my daughter breakfast in bed. Lucky her.
Very nice.
Good mom. She better cook me something for lunch now. See, I didn't eat lunch yet.
Oh, okay. There you go. I got to call mom too. I got to call mom. Happy Valentine's.
Oh, that's nice.
Got to do that. So.
Well, I hope everyone has a good day, and we will definitely see you tomorrow on the live show.
That's right. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. Lynn and I and the rest of the Hudson Valley Squares are going to be doing an all request all Q&A show tomorrow for about 90 minutes. So hop on to the channel here, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a live show with all of us. We're taking your questions and comments and all that fun stuff. So
or not taking questions because I can't remember.
Well, yeah,
or because I can't remember shit. Don't ask me who my favorite albums are.
Lynn, who produced that album by such and such band in 1986?
Like, I have to look stuff up to do this show. I can't remember off the cuff. So don't ask me any questions like that because you'll get an I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
So we'll see.
I'm kidding. It'll be a good time. It'll be fun.
Yeah, exactly. So stay tuned, everybody. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube.
All the damn time.
That is correct. That is correct. So stay tuned. We got one more show coming up for you today, guys. So I didn't get it in this morning, but it is coming. What is the show that I got? It's been a long morning so far. Oh, of course. Albums that are 50 years old in 2021. So I've got my pick of the day, my day 14 favorite album of my 28 from 1971 that turns 50 years this year. That's coming up momentarily. So stay tuned for that, and tune in tomorrow night for the Hudson Valley Squares. For Lynne Versaci, I am Pete Pardo. Goodbye, everybody.